Try as I might, I cannot seem to put how playing Sonic 2 8-bit feels into words. So, I'll let Corey Taylor do it for me. What's up gang, I'm Meadow. Today, we're covering the gameplay of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 8-bit. This is gonna hurt. Like every other game in the series up to this point, Sonic 2 8-bit is a 2D platformer where you play as Sonic the Hedgehog. Unlike every game in the series up to this point, Sonic 2 8-bit isn't fun. This game is a long sequence of missed potential and running into things. The problems with this game can be boiled down into two main issues: screen crunch and lack of power-ups. Issue 1. Screen crunch. The footage you are seeing now is taken from the Master System version of the game. Only the Game Gear version was released in North America, but I chose the European Master System release to avoid the awful screen crunch the Game Gear version had. If you aren't familiar, since the Game Gear was a handheld with a small screen, the camera was usually zoomed in more so you could see your player character better. The consequence of this is that you couldn't see much of the level outside of your player character, so you ran into a lot of otherwise easily avoided obstacles. Since the Master System releases were designed to be played on TV instead of a handheld, they didn't have this issue. At least, not usually. But even in the Master System version of Sonic 2 8-bit, the Sonic sprite is a lot bigger than it was in Sonic 1 8-bit. This means everything around Sonic is bigger. Now on the one hand, it does make the game look better than its predecessor. But on the other hand, I can't see more than 5 feet in front of me. Even when I try to mitigate it, screen crunch
finds a way.
The effect this has on the game is bigger than you would think. Sonic 2 8-bit would be a fantastic game that would be on par with Sonic 1 16-bit if only that Sonic sprite was smaller. But instead, the speed-focused level design is wasted, because you pretty much have to have the level memorized before you can go fast, since you don't get any reaction time. I'm jumping from this cart here because I know that I have to. How do I know this? Am I looking ahead in the level and using my reflexes to jump at the right time? No. I know this because I didn't jump once and died. Am I letting the hang glider go down instead of up because I can see there are spikes ahead? No. I am doing this because one time I didn't and died. Having the only way to learn being trial and error is not fun. Having virtually no way to look ahead far enough to avoid dangers is not fun. As a result, playing this game is not fun. But in a normal Sonic game, this problem would be mitigated somewhat by extra lives, invincibility, shields, and rings. So where are those in Sonic 2 8-bit? Issue 2. Lack of power-ups. For some reason, Sonic 2 8-bit has a distinct lack of power-ups and second chances. Unlike in Sonic 1 8-bit, there are no shields and no checkpoints. The power-ups left are Super Ring, Invincibility, Power Sneakers, and 1-Up. That's it. And while you can pick up some of your rings after getting hit now, it does not help as much as it should since A, you still get no rings during boss fights, which is when you grab old rings the most, and B, when you get hit, you have next to no control over Sonic until he hits the ground. Good luck grabbing your rings in the 45th spike pit the game has. You may be thinking, well, I'll just grab lots of lives in special stages, like in Sonic 1 8-bit. No! There are no special stages. Chaos Emeralds are found in the levels like last game, but there are no special stages to get rings, continues, or 1-ups. In fact, this game is even stingy with continues. You can only get one if you collect a Chaos Emerald or get Tails on your signpost, which only occurs if you have 77 rings and the same number of lives as when you entered the level. As you can imagine, this never happens, so I don't have footage for it. This game would be great if it was just like any other Sonic game, but it is in the places where it changes things that it lags behind in quality. You want to know why this review took so long? It's not because I had writer's block, it's because I couldn't bring myself to play this game. I had to force myself to play this game. And every time I did play it, I am being ticked off because look at this! How was I supposed to know that was there? This game has a good ending and a bad ending, and I've only ever seen the bad ending. I'm not going to try to get the good ending, because my time is more valuable than playing this. I am done with this game. I am not picking it up again. I'm not going for 100%. I am done. That being said, let's break down the levels, shall we? Sonic 2 8-bit operates the same way Sonic 1 8-bit did. 2 normal-sized acts, and a third act that's more like an extended boss room than an actual level. It worked last time, and it works fine here. Underground Zone is the first zone and the first opening level in the series that isn't Green Hill Zone. Instead, it goes for a radically different theme, Tan Bowser's Castle. The floor is lava, literally, and there are rideable minecarts everywhere. It's pretty cool for a first zone. It's nice to boot up a Sonic game and be met with adventure and danger, instead of yet another chill tropical island. In the boss for Underground Zone, Eggman saves you from falling into lava, takes you instead to his antlion robot, and leaves. Okay then. This boss is infamous for being brutally difficult on the Game Gear, since the screen is so small that you can't see where the balls are coming from. While on Master System, it's honestly pretty easy. Just stand still and jump over the balls. That's it. Once the antlion has taken enough damage, Eggman returns and destroys it himself? Then he just leaves again?
Huh?
What makes this stranger is that besides the final boss, this is the only time we see Eggman in this game. He is absent in a way that he usually isn't. Sky High Zone feels more like a first level than Underground Zone does. The music is chill, the setting of hilltops among clouds isn't stressful, and Act 1 is pretty short. There are hang gliders that you can use in this zone, which is honestly pretty cool. In Act 2, night sets in and you bounce among the clouds during a rainstorm. It's a really good atmosphere for an 8-bit game, helped by the updated graphics. But at what cost? The boss for Sky High Zone has multiple phases, which is unique. First, these birds pop up that you have to destroy, then it happens again, but faster. Once you defeat the second round birds, you fall through the clouds onto a layer with eggs. These eggs are actually the source of the birds, and once you destroy them, their mama shows up. She bobs up and down and spews fireballs at you, which actually track you to an extent. This boss is either really easy or really hard. No in between. Aqua Lake Zone is next, and has the biggest dichotomy between Act 1 and Act 2. Act 1 is light and breezy, and is one of the few levels where you can go maximum speed without ramming into an unseen obstacle. In this game, you can actually skip along the water's surface if you go fast enough, which is really useful. In Act 1, at least. In Act 2, you spend the entire stage underwater. And oh my! This is as bad as people say Labyrinth Zone is in Sonic 1. The water physics are realistic in the sense that doing anything takes way more effort than it should. Then there are these bubble sections where you have to maneuver your bubble upwards without popping it, because if you pop it, you'll sink all the way to the bottom. This is not fun, especially since, as mentioned earlier, you cannot control Sonic while he is stunned. So if you pop your bubble on a corner, you're just kinda dead and can't do anything about it. Aqua Lake's boss is a seal that blows up its nose and you have to jump on it to damage it. It's not that hard. Green Hills Zone is the calm before the storm. It's a fun, fast zone before the game really ramps up in difficulty. There are loops, plenty of 1-ups, and too many rings. The game engine strains a little in this zone, as evident by the fact that I got stuck here multiple times. This is me, pressing the D-pad, mashing the jump button, and I'm still just spinning. But besides that one glitch, it's just a really pleasant stage to play through, which is nice after Aqua Lake Act 2. Well, it's pleasant until Act 3. In Act 3, the entire floor is made out of spikes, which is an indicator of things to come, and you have to leap from spring to spring. If you miss, dead. I would say just hold right and you should be fine. That doesn't apply here, since if you hold right too much, you die anyway. I don't know, man, just get lucky, I guess. The boss is a pig thing that turns into a ball and comes at you in a couple of different ways. Not too tricky overall. Gimmick Mountain Zone, yes, it's actually called that, is where the difficulty really starts to increase. Eggman's built something into this mountain, and now you've got to navigate through it. There are big spinning things on 2 axes, lots of tricky jumps, the minecarts return, and also the floor is spikes. All roads lead to spikes. Did the developers not have any other ideas besides making the floor dangerous? Floors you can't touch are in every zone, it's weird. Gimmick Mountain's boss is another pig, except this time it tries to ram into you, and when it fails, it causes rocks to fall from the ceiling. I had a lot of trouble with this boss, except while recording, for whatever reason. Scrambled Egg Zone feels like a final zone, which, to be fair, it is for most people. The zone is dominated by tubes that transport you to different sections of the level. There are plenty of 1-up monitors here for some reason. And oh yeah, the floor is spikes. I hate Act 2. It's just obnoxious. Act 3 is short. even for this game's standards. The tubes this time around lead to a room with the final boss, Silver Sonic. Silver Sonic has a jetpack that is either on its side or its back, I'm not sure, an extending claw, and can spin dash, which is something that Sonic cannot do in this game. Since he can do it in Sonic 2, this implies he learned how to spin dash from Silver Sonic. So that's neat. As a boss, Silver Sonic is a pushover. I only died to him once. If you beat him without all of the Chaos Emeralds, you get to see the staff roll immediately after. Is Tails dead? Crystal Egg Zone is accessible only if you've gathered every Chaos Emerald, 5 from each zone and 1 from Silver Sonic. Now, take my words from here on out with a grain of salt. I haven't played the game past Silver Sonic because it hasn't earned it, so I'm basing what I say off of what other people have said about the final stretch of the game. It seems that Crystal Egg Zone was significantly easier than Scrambled Egg Zone. Perhaps this was a reward for putting up with the game long enough to get this far. Also, this is off topic, but I just realized he wasn't called Eggman in the West until 1999. What did people think these zones were named for? The levels have absolutely nothing to do with eggs, yet they're named after them. That's so weird. Like, why did they think? Just like playing this game about a hedgehog trying to stop an evil doctor, and the last 2 zones are just themed around eggs, except they're not. Do people just think it was a weird Japanese thing or something? Anyways. Act 3 is the shortest act in the game, with it being a short walk to the final boss. Eggman himself tries to shock you, but you can use the tubes around the device to avoid his attacks. Eventually, the control panel gets destroyed and Eggman runs back to a teleporter. He disappears, but Tails is teleported back, so all's well that ends well. Is Tails alive? Although I briefly mentioned Chaos Emeralds before, I want to talk about them more in depth here. Like in Sonic 1 8-bit, they are found throughout the zones. This time, however, they are only found in the Act 2s of a zone, which is nice since you don't have to worry about finding them in Act 1. But even here, this game makes things unnecessarily harder. You see, in Sonic 1 8-bit, finding the emeralds wasn't that difficult, since the level design was basic enough that you had one path and very little deviation from that path. Is there a tunnel going in the opposite direction from your goal? Probably an emerald there. Locating the emeralds wasn't hard, since the most cursory exploration would present you with them. In Sonic 2 8-bit, the level design is much more complicated and much more in line with the Genesis games. If you take the low path, you'll go slower, but it'll be easier. And if you take the high path, you'll go faster, but with trickier platforming. That's the idea anyway, it doesn't always work out that way. This is the way the Genesis games were designed because it rewards the player for getting good at the game. It's a time-tested design philosophy. However, it is important to note that the Genesis games never required you to search the level up and down for a single item that would cost you the true ending if you didn't get it. That is the problem with the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 2 8-bit. Instead of letting you have fun with the levels, you have to go on a very specific path in order to properly beat the game. This removes the freedom and flow that Sonic games are known for. And if you miss an emerald, screw you buddy, you're going to have to either suck it up or restart the game. This is yet another reason why playing this game is painful. If you screw up once, you are not given any second chances. Suppose I should mention the signposts since they have a purpose in this game. Like in Sonic 1 8-bit, you'll most often get the Eggman signpost, but that's okay since they removed the sound that makes it seem like you failed somehow. The ring signpost appears if your ring count is multiple of 10. I still don't understand why this sign exists, considering all it does is slightly increase your score. Sonic will give you an extra life, like last game, but this time you have to lose 2 lives in the level before you can get it. Consolation prize, I suppose. As mentioned earlier, Tails will give you continue, but only if you have 77 rings and the same number of lives as when you started the level. I have no idea why the conditions for gaining continue are this strict, but like everything else in the game, you gotta work for it. I believe I have covered everything pertinent to the gameplay of Sonic the Hedgehog 2 8-bit. If you've made it this far, thanks for watching. If you haven't made it this far, wrong. Next Sunday, I'll be back and we'll be talking about the music of Sonic 2 8-bit. If that sounds interesting, make sure to like and subscribe, Spike Pits.